Our crew on scene Wednesday as a woman runs, screaming after the shooting.
Seen a bunch of people crying. Something I didn't want to see. I don't really want to say it, but I seen a body land on the ground. I didn't want to see that also.
April 14th, 2022. North Lauderdale, Florida. A mother is getting her 3 children ready for school. It's a normal Wednesday morning, backpacks by the door, car keys in hand. The routine every parent knows by heart. In the parking lot outside their townhouse, her ex-husband is waiting, with a gun. Within minutes, 2 people are dead. A mother and her 15-year-old daughter, shot in broad daylight. While the 2 youngest children watch from inside the car, here's what makes this case so devastating. Jennifer Belli had done everything right. She filed for a restraining order. She got a divorce. She bought her own home. She built a life without him. And it still wasn't enough. Because the danger wasn't somewhere out there. It was in a man who had decided that if he couldn't control her life, he would end it. This is the story of Jennifer Belli and her daughter Anastasia, are 2 people who deserved so much more than what that April morning took from them. Disclaimer. Before we continue, this case involves graphic descriptions of domestic violence and murder witnessed by children. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Jennifer did everything survivors of domestic abuse are told to do. She went to the courts. She got the paperwork. She moved on with her life. The system offers those tools as protection. File the restraining order. Get the divorce. And start over. But a piece of paper doesn't stop a man who's decided the rules don't apply to him. And on a school morning in April 2022, while her children waited in the car, Jennifer Belli and her teenage daughter were murdered by the man she had spent years trying to escape. If you're here for true crime that asks the hard questions about how our system protects or fails to protect domestic violence survivors, hit that subscribe button. We bring you new cases every single day. Real stories. Our real failures. Real lives that mattered. Let's talk about who Jennifer Belli was before her life was stolen from her. Jennifer Alexandra Belli grew up in North Lauderdale, Florida. From an early age, she was the kind of person who made an impression. Family and friends consistently use the same words to describe her. Joyful, vibrant, magnetic. Not in a performative way, Jennifer wasn't someone who demanded attention. She simply had a presence that made people around her feel seen and valued. She was ambitious in a way that went beyond personal gain. Jennifer developed a deep interest in financial empowerment, tax preparation, credit repair, investment strategy. She wanted to understand how money worked, and more importantly, she wanted to help other people understand it too. Families that had been locked out of financial stability. People who had never had anyone explain how to build credit or protect their assets. Jennifer saw that as her calling. She ran multiple ventures simultaneously: financial services, real estate, buying and selling homes and land, a clothing business. She was not someone who sat and waited for opportunity. She went out and created it, and she documented her journey openly, sharing her thoughts and encouragement with her social media following. In one video, filmed on what appeared to be an ordinary morning, Jennifer looked directly into the camera and said, "Today is the day. Forgive the person who hurt you most. Let the pain go. Take the initiative on your business. Stop whatever is holding you back." She meant it. She lived it. On top of all of this, the businesses, the ambition, the community investment, Jennifer was a mother. A fiercely devoted, completely present mother. Her eldest daughter, Anastasia, whom the family called Nana, was not just Jennifer's child. She was her companion, her joy, and by all accounts, her closest reflection of everything Jennifer was building toward. When 2 younger boys joined the family, Jennifer absorbed the expanded responsibilities without breaking stride. She was the glue holding everything together. The one who made sure birthdays were celebrated, homework got done, and the house felt like a home. That was Jennifer Belli, not a victim, a person, a whole, a fully realized person with dreams and plans, and people who needed her. Jennifer met Andre O'Dane England when they were both college students. From the outside, it looked like a natural match. Andre was charming, confident, easy to be around. He had the kind of social ease that draws people in quickly, and Jennifer was drawn in. They were young. They were in love the way young people in love often are, completely and without much question. There was an early complication. Jennifer wasn't supposed to be dating at that age. Her family had rules, and Andre didn't fit within them. But when you're convinced someone is everything, rules can feel like obstacles rather than protection. She kept seeing him. She believed in what they had. They dated through their college years, built a relationship across young adulthood, and eventually took the step that seemed like the natural conclusion. They got married. The wedding was, by all accounts, a genuinely happy occasion. And for a while, the marriage felt like what Jennifer had imagined. Anastasia arrived not long after. Jennifer became a mother and embraced it completely. But something was shifting underneath the surface of that picture. Andre, it turned out, did not share Jennifer's drive or her sense of responsibility. While she was building businesses, managing finances, and keeping the household operational, Andre was largely absent from that effort. He didn't contribute financially in any consistent, meaningful way. He spent money recklessly. He smoked. He argued. What bothered people around them wasn't just the imbalance. It was that Andre knew he wasn't contributing and chose not to change. Family members were aware of it. People in their circle saw it. It wasn't a secret. Jennifer worked. Jennifer carried the weight. Jennifer kept the roof over the family's head and food on the table. Andre existed alongside that rather than within it. And then, as the years passed and the foundation of the marriage eroded further, his behavior escalated from negligence into something darker and more dangerous. Emotional abuse in a marriage rarely announces itself clearly. It tends to arrive gradually. A pattern of control and pressure that becomes normalized over time precisely because it escalates slowly. By the time someone realizes what has been happening to them, the dynamic has been building for years. That was Jennifer's reality. Andre's controlling behavior intensified. His temper became more volatile. The home that Jennifer had worked so hard to build began to feel increasingly unsafe. The emotional weight of the relationship, combined with his financial irresponsibility and escalating aggression, finally pushed Jennifer to do something that required enormous courage. On April 5, 2018, Jennifer filed a domestic violence restraining order against Andre. That filing is not a small thing. For anyone who has lived inside an abusive relationship, the act of going to a courthouse and putting that dynamic on record, with your name on it, with the potential for retaliation, is an act of extraordinary bravery. It's also statistically...
Today's Wednesday. Today I woke up, I said I'm going to be happy. I don't care what's going on around me. I'm going to embrace the notion of happiness today. And I would like everyone that's following me on social media to do the same. Forgive that person that hurt you the most. Let that pain go. Take the initiative on your business. If you have to change something like stop smoking or anything of that nature, do it. Today's the day.
One of the most dangerous moments in an abusive relationship. The period immediately following a restraining order filing is among the highest risk periods for victims of domestic violence. Court documents show that approximately 18 days later, Jennifer chose not to pursue making the order permanent. It was dropped. The reasons for that decision are hers and hers alone. What I will say is that this is an extraordinarily common pattern in domestic abuse situations, and it does not reflect weakness or poor judgment. It reflects the complexity of leaving, the fear, the financial entanglement, the children, the history, the manipulation, and the often credible belief that things might still change. Because Jennifer hadn't given up on Andre entirely. Even after separation, she continued to offer him support, financially and through the network of people who cared about their family. She enlisted the help of their pastor. She helped connect him to people who might guide him toward stability. Andre, during this period, began making repeated phone calls in which he threatened to harm himself. Jennifer's family would pray with him and try to talk him down. They did their best. They took it seriously. And Jennifer, in the way that characterizes everything we know about who she was, kept hoping that the man she had once believed in was still somewhere inside the person he had become. Nothing in her nature had prepared her to simply walk away and close the door. She was a fixer, a giver, a believer in people. In this case, that quality, one of the most admirable things about her, would cost her everything. In 2020, Jennifer was officially granted a divorce from Andre England. And then she did something remarkable. She started over. She purchased a home on her own. She stabilized her businesses. She raised her children as a single mother. Anastasia growing into a teenager, the two boys still young and needing constant attention. Jennifer poured herself into all of it. On her friends described a woman who had, against considerable odds, found her footing and was moving forward. But Andre wouldn't let her go. Despite the legal end of the marriage, he continued to reappear in her life. Phone calls, showing up, pressure to reconcile. Jennifer, by all accounts, was clear and consistent in refusing. She did not want to return to that relationship. She had made her decision. Her family watched her navigate his repeated attempts to cross her boundaries with a combination of exhaustion and determination. The situation had the quality of something that had been allowed to smolder for too long. It wasn't an explosion. Not yet. But the heat was there, and it had been there for a while. Then April arrived. It was a Wednesday morning. Jennifer Belli was doing what she did every school day, getting her children ready, gathering bags, preparing to load everyone into the car and start the day. It was ordinary. It was routine. It was exactly what a mother does. Sometime before 9 a.m., Jennifer was on the phone with her mother. During that conversation, she mentioned something unsettling. There was someone outside who looked like Andre. She was trying to process what she was seeing, and her mother was on the other end of the line. Then Jennifer said she'd call back later. She never did. At approximately 9 a.m., police received a 911 call directing them to the 7900 block of Tamarack Shanter Boulevard in North Lauderdale. When Broward Sheriff's deputies arrived on the scene, they found what no one should ever have to find. Outside the townhouse, two people had been shot and killed. Jennifer Belli, 32 years old, and her daughter, Anastasia, 15 years old. Witnesses described what investigators would later piece together from the evidence. Andre England had arrived at the scene while Jennifer and the children were heading to the car. He had been waiting. When Jennifer and Anastasia came outside, he opened fire, shooting Jennifer, then turning the gun on their teenage daughter. The two younger boys who had been ready to go to school survived unharmed. What they witnessed, no one who loves them can undo. The scene that deputies found told the story through evidence alone. One body on the grass near the building's entrance, and another beside the blue car in the parking lot, its driver's side and rear passenger doors still open. A child's car seat in the back, backpacks and papers strewn across the ground. The remnants of a morning that never finished. Responding officers and investigators worked the scene for hours. Neighbors gathered outside the police tape. Some wept. Some stood in stunned silence. One neighbor, who had spoken to Anastasia that very morning, told reporters that the teenager had looked at her. I said good morning and told her she was blessed. That was the last conversation anyone outside the family had with her. Jennifer's aunt, Belinda Belli, arrived at the scene and spoke to cameras through her grief. Her words were raw. She called Andre a coward. She said God would deal with him. She mourned the loss of her niece and her best friend in the same breath, because for her, Jennifer had been both. Nearby schools, North Lauderdale Elementary and Silver Lakes Middle School, were placed on immediate lockdown as the search for Andre began. That lockdown was lifted by noon. But the weight in the air over that neighborhood didn't lift with it. Within hours of the murders, Broward Sheriff's Office investigators had identified Andre O'Dane England as the primary suspect. His history of domestic violence and escalating threats toward Jennifer made him the obvious focus. He also had a prior domestic violence conviction dating back to 2009, a detail that added layers to an already troubling picture of who this man had always been. Authorities released his photo and description. A 34-year-old male, 5 feet 10 inches tall, known to spend time in the Margate area. Broward County Crime Stoppers put up a $5,000 reward for information leading to his location. Local television stations broadcast his image. Community members were urged to come forward. For 4 days, Andre England was a fugitive. Yet during those 4 days, Jennifer's family buried their grief inside a home that no longer felt whole. Her 2 surviving sons, the ones who had been in that car, were being held and comforted by people trying to figure out how to explain to young children what had happened to their mother and sister. The community around them was simultaneously mourning and afraid. Someone had done this in a parking lot at 9 in the morning. Someone had brought a gun to a school run. Yet Jennifer's friends and neighbors began gathering near the scene, laying flowers and candles, writing messages, building the kind of spontaneous memorial that a community constructs when language runs out. On Monday, April 18, 2022, 4 days after the murders, law enforcement tracked Andre England to a Circle K gas station on Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. Investigators believed he was inside the building. When deputies approached the restroom door, they heard a single gunshot from inside. When they entered, they found Andre England dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. There would be no trial, no testimony, no moment in a courtroom where Jennifer's family could look at him and watch justice delivered. No opportunity for the legal system to formally assign the weight of what he had done. Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney addressed the outcome publicly. He acknowledged the investigative work. He acknowledged the loss. And he called Andre England what Jennifer's aunt had already called him 4 days earlier: a coward. A man who, when finally cornered, chose escape over accountability. Jennifer Belli did not fail to protect herself. She filed for a restraining order. She sought a divorce. She bought her own home and moved forward with her life. She cut the legal ties. She said no, clearly and repeatedly, to every attempt Andre made to re-enter her world. The system offers those tools as the answer. Yeah, file the paperwork. Get the order. Leave. Build a new life. Jennifer did all of it. And she was still killed in a parking lot on a school morning while her children watched. This is not a case about a woman who didn't try. This is a case about a system that treats a piece of paper as protection and a legal order as a physical barrier. It is not. An injunction does not stop a man who has decided that the rules no longer apply to him. A divorce decree does not stop a man who has decided that he owns someone's life regardless of what any court says. Andre England had a domestic violence conviction from 2009. He had a restraining order filed against him in 2018. Jennifer's family was aware of his instability and his threats. He had been making suicide threats over the phone. There were red flags stacked on top of red flags, visible to anyone paying attention. At some point, the question isn't whether the victim did enough, and the question is whether the people and systems around her took the warning signs seriously enough. In Jennifer's case, the answer is no. And that no cost her everything. It cost Anastasia everything. Jennifer Belli was a financial services professional who helped families build stability. She was a real estate investor and a clothing entrepreneur. A woman who got on social media on ordinary mornings to tell strangers to forgive whoever had hurt them and take initiative on their lives. She meant it because she lived it. Anastasia was 15. She greeted her neighbors every morning. She carried her backpack out to the car on a Wednesday morning ready for another school day. Jennifer's 2 sons are still here. They are growing up in the wake of something no child should have to carry. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-800-79-97233. That number and additional resources are in the description below. Our deepest condolences go out to Jennifer's family, to Anastasia's loved ones, and to everyone who knew them. May their memories be a blessing. May their story push us to demand better protection for domestic violence survivors. And may we never stop saying their names. Rest in peace, Jennifer Alexandra Belli and Anastasia. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, share it. Let people know that their lives mattered. Or hit that subscribe button for daily true crime content that demands accountability from the systems that are supposed to protect us. What do you think needs to change to better protect people in Jennifer's situation? Let us know in the comments below. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one.